Good afternoon, everyone. We'll let everyone get logged in and we'll get started here in about a minute, but appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Great. We will get started. Welcome everyone to Hireology's Q1 product breakdown. Take your hiring to the next level. It's April 22nd, and I'm excited to be here today. Let's get going. Some housekeeping items. Just so everyone knows, this session is being recorded, and we will email it out to all registrants after this event, so don't worry about it. If you have any questions for our presenters, please submit them through the Q&A. The team will be monitoring it. We'll make sure to address them at the end. And if you want to talk with other attendees, please use the chat. Please talk to each other. The whole point of this is to make sure you're getting to talk to like-minded businesses who are facing the same challenges relative to hiring. But with that, let me get us started. Here are your presenters today. My name is Kristen Shantz. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Hireology. Have had the joy of being here for just over 7.5 years, and excited to talk to you about what I think is some of the most compelling updates we have made to our software in my tenure here. With me today, I have our CEO and founder, Adam Robinson, probably not a new face or name to a lot of you, and then John Estermerly, our Chief Product and Technology Officer, who's just about to hit his 3 years. So lots of great content, lots of great conversation. And with that, let me talk to you a little bit about our agenda. Like always, we're going to open and just give you our take on the market. We're paying attention to the news headlines, what's going on in the job market, and we're going to give our perspective, and Adam will walk you through that. Then we're going to turn it over to John, and we're going to talk a little bit about, hey, it's a new app. It looks great. Lots of great user experience to talk about. We'll talk a little bit about what we're seeing in our new feature set of Action Center and how it's driving some meaningful value on speeding up hiring and helping you maintain quality. And then we'll talk through some insights. New feature that is in preview for our customers and just weeks away from going live, a new way to think about data to empower your hiring teams. And then finally, going into the end here, looking at job requisitions and approvals and how we look at that. And with that, I will turn it over to Adam Robinson to talk a little bit about our market conditions.
All right, thanks, Katie, and welcome everyone. It's good to be here with everyone. I'm Adam Robinson, founder and CEO of Hireology, and we've got a lot of good content for you here today. So I'm going to get right to it. We're going to take a quick snapshot of where the U.S. labor market stands as of the end of last month, March of 2025, and what we're hearing from customers like you on how they have been performing this year from a hiring standpoint. These insights directly impact how the team here at Hireology thinks about addressing hiring challenges in your market, about talent strategy, and where Hireology continues to lead from a product and process standpoint. So let's take a look at it. In the top left, you are looking at the number of jobs added in March. So I don't know about you, I'm at the point where I just want to turn off the television and focus on what's right in front of me. Who knows where we're headed? Blink and the policies change. But what I can tell you emphatically is that through the end of last month, none of the noise and uncertainty in the market the tariff-related uncertainty has hit employment in any way. U.S. added 228,000 jobs in March, which maintains our multi-year strength in creating employment here in the United States. 228,000 was well above forecasts. So we enter April with strong employment momentum. In the top right, we're looking at the unemployment rate. Unemployment rate is a function of the number of people working as it relates to the number of people who are saying they're looking for work. And so that's affected by those two numbers. How many people found employment? How many people didn't find employment but were looking for it? And so, as those numbers changed, the unemployment rate changes. The unemployment rate did rise slightly last month by 0.1% to 4.2, still historically a very low number. And so by no means a red flag, but we're watching this right now. Generally, we see all of the jobs that all of our customers have open across all 50 states. We call that job inventory. What we watch is the level of job inventory across our customer base. And when we start to see job inventory uh, falling, when you start to take jobs off the board for business planning purposes, that generally, in our experience of 15 years in the market, tells us that 3 to 4 months later, we're going to see that behavior picked up in the hiring reports coming out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What I can tell you is that through the end of last month, we see no drop off in job inventory across our customer base, which again signals that our customers are continuing to plan, for a year where they're going to be busy. The bottom left, you see healthcare growth. Healthcare continues to lead job growth in the United States. Just in March, 54,000 jobs were added, and in the bottom right is market sentiment. And despite strong numbers, everyone is a little nervous right now about what's going to happen. And I think, it's the monster hiding under the bed. No one knows quite what it looks like, and when you peek, it isn't there, but something's there. So businesses are still cautious in their hiring approach, which really reinforces the need for a strategic and efficient hiring solution. And that's really where Hireology thrives. So let's take a look inside the numbers. I mentioned job inventory. Inside our customer base with all of you, we've seen a steady and high volume of applicants. So that's people looking for work. This shows strong market interest in the opportunities that our technology is being leveraged by our customers to source people through. So applicant flow is strong and on the increase. Notably, in March, we saw the highest applicant volume we've ever seen at 885,000 applicants. So Hireology processed 885,000 job seekers in the month of March, with another major peak happening in January as the year started, which is typically when everyone, both employers and job applicants, shake the cobwebs off from the end of the year holiday season and, make decisions about hiring and employment. That hit 821,000, and so we're above even that. So these spikes highlight the seasonal trends, but also, just highlight the robustness of candidate interest in working for all of you. That's great. So let's go to the next slide, which is our total hires. Across the last year, Hireology helped our customers make about 192,000 hires, showcasing the platform's ability to turn that interest we saw on the last slide into action. And despite fluctuations in applicant numbers, monthly hires remained relatively steady. So we are seeing more people looking for work now than ever before. And I'm sure you're feeling that now. It's a little bit easier to get people to apply for jobs than it was a year ago, certainly than it was 2 years ago. And monthly hires remained relatively steady, but still at an elevated rate. So again, proof of our strong conversion funnel and streamlined hiring tools. So that gives you a little bit of a backdrop of where we are right now. April is a coin flip on whether or not we're going to see hiring slow down or remain consistent. I would be surprised if it accelerated. But as it stands today, and I want you to ask yourself the question, are we seeing an evidence in a downturn in demand for the people we need to run the businesses that we're running? We enter April at steady state and still historically high interest and historically low turnover, unemployment rather. And on that note, turnover as well. All of these numbers are trending down as people stay where they are, and those who are looking for work are doing so with increased velocity and vigor. So with that backdrop, I want to turn things over to my partner in crime, John Asermely, to take you through some of the things we're doing in the app to meet the moment here for you and help make life easier for you in the jobs that you are all in. John, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Adam. Hey, everybody. I'm John Asermely, the Chief Product and Technology Officer here at Hireology. It's surprising to me that 3 years is coming up. Man, that happened fast, although it feels like I've been here for a long time. So makes sense. So we made a lot of changes here at Hireology to the application to better service the needs of our customers. Yes, the app looks, as you can see, I mean, drastically different, but it's not just a pretty face. You know, everything we've done is for a purpose and to better serve our customers and bring to the fore the things that you need to do your job as to the best possible level. We're going to talk about navigation, the ability to go between locations, to find what you need, to find the applicants, to make the changes to whatever you need to do. So we're going to go deep into navigation. Both the easier to navigate and the smarter insights are done industry specific for the needs of our specific industries. How I navigate, how I need to move around is specific to the customers that we serve. And our insights, as we dive into them, we're going to get into the specific insights that matter in your industries in a way that matter. How am I, you know, my specific roles, where are they getting sourced from? Which ones are actually turning into conversions? So we're going to go through all of that. Lots of change, a lot of fun stuff. So let's keep going. All right, let's start with the navigation. As I said, like it looks a lot different. We went from a top navigation to a left navigation, but this is all about being able to find what you need and also knowing where you are all the time. And so we're going to talk about the location picker. We're going to talk about the jobs, but this is, I've got tons of jobs. And if I'm a recruiter managing a portfolio, the question is, how long does it take me to find what I need and to make the changes and updates to whatever it is that I need to deal with? And also highlighting what those changes are. We'll talk a little bit about that later on too. But navigation is about speed. So for those, you know, Hireologists who've been around for a while, how do I update? How laborious is it or easy is it to update things like settings? How easy is it to find that candidate that I was just working on, but I need to get back to? How hard is it to find that job? How hard is it to manage my day? All of those things have been improved a ton with this new navigation, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Things like finding the resources, you know, where's my knowledge base? It's in that bottom left. Easier. We've done a lot of thinking about what it is you want to find and how it is you want to get there. And so with this new navigation, we've delivered on a lot of those promises. Let's go next. So location picker. Location picker kind of does a lot. Number one, it tells me where am I in the application. I can work through locations one at a time if I want to. But now a new capability that you have is to work through a group of stores at once. So I can select a parent location. And now I'm not just able to see the jobs of that location, although I can, if I so choose to work that way. I can see all the children jobs in that location. I can dive in and out of those jobs without ever having to now change locations. And so the speed of this is immense. If I'm updating settings at one location, I can jump from one settings page to the next. So working through things like settings just got a lot faster. Now, with this setup, when I select my location, I'm actually doing a lot. It's more than just going to a location. It is really setting a context for me. So now when I want to search for things, if I select my Northeast Division or Auto North here that we have selected, I can search exclusively the jobs and the candidates that matter in that selected parent. When I go to my action center, when I go to my insights, it's now scoped appropriately, making it easier than having to continually select filters on every screen saying this is the set of stores I care about. With Location Picker now, not only can I get between one store and another very, very easily, I can select entire groups of stores and be in that context. And for most of my day-to-day work, not even need to go in and out of stores. I can work at that parent, jump into location, jump into jobs, find candidates, and do all the work I need at just a more rapid pace. Let's keep going. Global search. So we redelivered our search. We replatformed using Azure AI search. It just allows a lot more functionality, a lot more speed. You're going to find the people you're looking for more easily. Search by email address, search by phone number, things that have long been asked for, search by alias, right? And so these things, maybe you're talking to someone, oh, I was talking to Johnny. Let me type Johnny. It's going to find, John, John. It's going to find John, Jon. All those things are now available with this new global search. And because we've moved to this, it now allows us that capability to do things like searching up and down an entire tree for candidates and or jobs. And it also positions us really well in the future to do a lot of other cool things that we'll talk more about. But in the global job search here, I can switch, I can toggle. So for those who haven't noticed that are using the platform, I can exclusively search for candidates, but I can also search for jobs. So no matter where I am, I don't have to keep going back to the jobs page. I can be anywhere within the app and I can find jobs extremely easily, jump to them and start doing my work. Next slide. Redesign jobs page. This page is meant to make, as a recruiter, my life working through jobs much easier. Now, obviously for hiring managers and the like, they get a ton of functionality here too. And we talk about vertical specific. I want to talk about the filters for a second. So there are two sets of filters. If I select a parent store, I can use my location filter to dive into one or a set of stores if I want to look or work that way. I can dive into the hiring manager, but I can also have got more filters. I can, in a matter of seconds, search across all my stores for all, let's say, service technicians if you're in auto, CNA, or housekeeping if you're hospitality. I can find all jobs of a specific type that have new applicants that need to be worked. That is time consuming, in most systems. Show me all technicians where, they've got new applicants, or show me all technicians, rank them by the number of candidates they have. So the filtering you see there is really powerful, and it's going to help you get to and work through a lot of jobs in a short amount of time. And it also allows you to work the way you want. Do you want to work through jobs with new applicants first? Do you want to work through jobs with the most candidates next? Do you want to work store by store? So I can just, using that filter, I can go one store at a time and work through my progressions at a speed that I couldn't in the past. Additionally, small little enhancements, but for the power users, they know. Now, when I list a whole bunch of jobs and I'm working down the list of jobs and I go into a job and make some changes and bounce back, it keeps my place. Little things like that we've heard that have been annoyances have been cleaned up. And so just a ton of new functionality here in the redesigned jobs page. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Adam, who's going to talk to you about the Action Center. Adam.
Great, John. Thanks very much. Let's talk about a powerful tool that we built to give recruiters and hiring managers more control and visibility, and that's Action Center. It's really designed with usability and speed of action in mind. So this is now your centralized hub for smarter, faster hiring decisions. So whether you're overseeing the hiring at one location or whether you're at the central office overseeing 50, 100, 1,000 locations, this new capability helps you stay on top of every hiring priority without all the chaos. So, we know what it's like to have to follow up with hiring managers at individual locations and ask them how it's going. That takes so much of your time, chasing down managers for feedback, trying to find out who really needs more applicants and who actually is sitting on applicants and needs more because they forgot to review the last batch that are now all unavailable. And I know you live that every day. So we want to do three things. We want to streamline multi-location hiring. We want to give you the ability to manage jobs across multiple sites from one screen, and importantly, have Action Center tell you what needs attention. No need to spend your time if things are working inside of the benchmarks that you've set. What you want to know is where is my help needed? Where is my time needed in a way that's productive? Second, is to give you the ability to manage hiring proactively. We want to instantly surface roles that have low applicant flow, for example, or where managers have been sitting on a stack of resumes or applications and just haven't reviewed them, because what we know, and I know you know, is that it's really hard to know who needs applicants and when and why. So what jobs have low applicant flow? Is it because the job posting came down? Is it because it's not up on our career site? We give you the tool to say this requires additional action from you to dig in and and find this out, and we surface some options for you to take a look at there, or delayed review. you know uh, Location A is on top of it and their review times at 24 hours or less. Location B, the manager there is taking 6 days. Action Center is your tool to help you leverage your time most effectively, and it really keeps you and your teams ahead of potential hiring problems and gaps now and in the future. And then third, we wanted to deliver just better insights on your hiring process in general. So John will, or Kristen rather, will spend some time talking about our rebuilt insights and reporting platform, but you now have the ability to access real-time data on hiring activity and performance at every location across your organization, either from the top down, the bottom up, divisionally, regionally, however your hierarchy is set up. And then giving you the ability to drill down into that location, or even drill down into that job category. Because when you show up looking for answers, you don't want to know how are we doing with hiring. What you typically want to know is, how are we doing hiring technicians at our Des Moines dealership? How is the new hotel we've just acquired in Boston doing for housekeeping hiring? How are we doing for housekeeper hiring or CNA hiring in our Northeast division? That's what you care about, and you don't want to have to stitch together this information to form an opinion, so we're going to deliver it to you on a platter. Some key features that I'll dig into, some of which I mentioned before. Number one, you're going to spot issues quicker. So the dashboard makes it easy for you to quickly identify bottlenecks, and that's the whole game in recruiting. If it's, as I said, if it's working well, no need to spend my time. But if we've got a problem, I want to know about it immediately. So whether it's a delayed time to review, low applicant volume, or jobs that have gone without a hire for an amount of time that you can set, those issues are flagged for you now automatically. Next, we want to make this a collaboration tool. So we further built in collaboration tools that allow internal communication directly in the platform. You can leave notes, you can tag team members, you can track recent activity. So, no more having to go back and forth over email or to a messaging platform outside of the product. You can do it all in here and connect it, to your systems that you use internally. And then third, and I think most importantly, the most important feature is it gives you what you need to take action. You can act immediately, and you don't have to leave Action Center to do that. So you can do 90+% of everything you need to do in your workday inside Action Center, just managing what needs managing and letting the rest of the operation run smoothly. And so whether that means messaging a hiring manager, sending a templated follow-up to candidates, or a specific candidate, either through email or text, or moving a candidate through to the next step, the system is guiding you to the next best thing to do, which saves you time, makes life easier, and ultimately leads to better hiring results. And so let's talk about that. We've had this in beta with some of our product Backstage Pass customers for a number of months. And since rolling out Action Center, users are seeing significant efficiency gains in their hiring process. So the two most important KPIs, I know if you're talking to your CSM here at Hireology, they are really hammering home these two KPIs. Time to review, right? How long does it take me or a manager to review and respond to an application? And second is time to hire. How long does it take an applicant to get to a hiring decision? On average, customers are saving 2.5 days in time to review. That is so critical in your industry. That means it's a faster process, faster feedback loops, fewer bottlenecks, and more momentum in the funnel, particularly with revenue generating roles or revenue supporting roles. Every day you cut off your time to hire is a day of opportunity for revenue you put back on the board. So this really adds hard ROI, to the investment you're making. And then second, time to hire. There is a 2-day reduction in time to hire. And that's a huge deal when you're competing for top talent, especially in our industries with high turnover or urgent staffing needs. So these numbers aren't just improvements. In my estimation, they're impact multipliers. So if you can do this systematically across every location in your operation for every role, you're moving faster. Applicants are getting reviewed quicker, which means they're more likely to stay in your funnel. You're hiring people quicker, which means people are on the roster or on the floor that much faster. And you're acing out the competition who is perhaps unable to move as quickly as you are because they don't have this kind of tooling. And so all of this is designed to help you perform better, to make your day easier, and ultimately help your business performance. And we've got some exciting updates on a new platform we've redeveloped to help you know exactly where you stand across the board. That's our Insights platform. And I'll turn it over to Kristen to take you through it.
Thanks, Adam. This is one that I'm very excited about, having been with Hireology for a while. So it's going to be kind of a combo deal between John and myself. And so Adam walked you through some key metrics that Action Center is driving reduction in and making time to hire. But let me walk you through a little bit of a crib sheet, or an easy to understand way relative to this. So Hireology puts out 2 studies a year. We're about to release our employer study for all of our markets. Healthcare actually went today. About what employers do. And then in August, you will see what we call our applicant study. And so in that research, what we learn year after year is applicants have an expectation of just moving faster. And so when you are looking to make a hire, the applicants you are looking to hire, that top talent in your talent pool, expects to go from application to being hired in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, they expect to be on your payroll. What that means is more than half of applicants actually expect to be interviewed in 3 days or less. And so this is what your process looks like between opening a job and scheduling that interview. They want to see it happen basically between now and Friday. And if they are in that process, they want to be hired in exactly 2 weeks from now. And so this is where you have real competitive opportunity if you're competing for talent in your market, from the other hotel down the street in Chicago, from the dealership down the street in Omaha, and all of the senior care facilities across the United States. What that looks like is you can make some real meaningful impact on time to review. If you shorten that, think about how much faster you can get that person scheduled for an interview. If you take 3 days to interview, to even review their application, you've already lost them in the interview schedule process. So there's lots of time efficiencies there that you can gain. Also, if you take more than 3 days to do time to first outreach to schedule that interview, not only just review it, but get contact that applicant, they've moved on. They've moved on to other people who beat you to the punch. They got back to them faster and have had a meaningful impact. And then finally, that impacts all of your time to hire. It's no different than a sales process. The speed to lead, the fastest you get to someone, can really have a meaningful impact about your ability to capture that person and turn them into an employee and not just an applicant. And so with that in mind, I'm going to talk about the key metrics that Hireology looks at and recommends many look at to make sure you're understanding speed while not sacrificing quality. So these are key metrics that Hireology looks at daily and monthly with our customers. Is time to review, the total, excuse me, the total time it takes for you to review the application once it's received. You've gotten the resume, they've raised their hand. How long does it take you from that application and that receipt to you reviewing it and deciding, yes, this is someone we want to talk to, or no, move on? And then time to first outreach, the duration from when that application is received to being contacted by the employer. Do you wait a week to send them an email? Do you wait 2 weeks to give them a phone call? There is a lot to be gained in that metric. And then time to hire, as I talked about, the total time from when the job is opened publicly to when an offer is accepted. That is your key metric. That is a revenue driving thing. And if you start thinking about it as a profit unlocker, there's a lot to be had there. And then moving over to quality, a lot of conversations we have is, hey, how do you do this and move with speed without sacrificing quality? So these are things to look at. A source of applicants, the percentage of the applicants broken down by where they're coming from. Are they all coming from Indeed? Are they coming from your career site? Are they coming from referrals program? Hireology knows this to be true of you need a multi-source and multi-channel approach, but career sites for our top customers tend to have 2x the impact on source of hire. So we pay attention to that and pay attention to source of candidates. Who are you moving forward? If you are getting a high volume, how fast are you moving them through? Are they people you actually want to talk to, or are they people clogging up your recruiting team's inbox? So percentage of those moved from candidate, from applicant, broken down by source. You can start to say, hey, this feels good, this volume versus this efficiency metric. And then finally, applicant to candidate ratio, really understanding by channel what this looks like. And this will help you know, hey, here's where I need to spend my time. Here's what's driving the most hires and the best opportunity for us. And from there. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to John, because Hireology has taken these key metrics and decided to really, really re-platform our insights tool. For customers who've been with us for a while, it has always been one of the most valuable parts of our platform, and John and team have taken it to the next level. So with that, I'll turn it over to John.
Great. Thanks, Kristen. Insights is one of my more fun topics to talk about, I would say. And for users of Hireology, you get some real clear advantages through the insights that we bring. And with the new platforming, you're going to kind of see them, and I'll walk through a few of them, but just a high level before we dive in, you're going to get metrics that are specific to your business. So the roles that you hire, what are the time to fills for the roles that you care about, right? So if I'm hiring a service technician, or if I'm hiring, a caregiver, it's going to have a different time to hire than, let's say, other roles. And our tool will showcase that to you, as well as showcasing other things like, what are the sources that are working for your specific roles. Additionally, we'll talk a little bit about some of the location stuff. A lot of you care deeply about locations, which locations are doing well, which locations are doing poorly. And so we bring that to the fore and make that easy for you to see. And lastly, we've really thought through just how you get from, I've got a bunch of data, to what do I need to take action on? Where are the problems? How do I dig in? Giving almost a mental model for how to think about finding, identifying, resolving problems. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, I'm going to do just a quick demo. Now, the data you're seeing here is demo data, so this is not, accurate data to the industry. But the first thing you're going to notice when you see this is that I've got a whole bunch of filtering now where I can dive into things and slice and dice this data in ways that are meaningful to me. You're also going to notice that you're going to see things like trend lines, how am I getting better or worse, and be able to compare yourself to industry averages. And so we can see percent reviewed or days to review. And Kristen's digging in here. So we're going to start to select some specific roles that maybe we want to look at. And she's going to go ahead and select that. Now, once we do, the data is now going to update. So if you hit that refresh button for us, Kristen, what you're going to see is that it's now scoped to those specific roles. And so as you scroll down a little bit more, Kristen will just highlight a few things. If you keep going, keep going. Things like, trend lines, or let's go to time to hire by job role down the bottom there, Kristen. We're going to break things down by role for you. This doesn't have a lot of data, but most of you have, let's say, 20 different roles you hire for. You're going to be able to see the time to hire for the roles you care about, because time to hire as a generic data point is valuable, but time to hire by the roles you care about is that next level of depth. So let's go back up to the top with that as a backdrop. And let's go on to hiring by performance, which is the next, or by location. You're going to see more and more of this from our insights. But we know that you all like to compare your locations, and you need context in order to be able to compare them. So here we're pointing out a couple of things like applicants reviewed and time to review by location. What this is going to allow you to do is see, obviously, are they reviewing applicants and how long is it taking them? But additionally, what's the volume? So it's interesting to see that store X or Y has a slow or fast time to review, but what's as important is how much volume are they working with and how much can I dig into that? Things like candidates and hires by location, and we'll be doing more in the future as well, but really location specific. So you can compare and contrast, you can sort. There's all kinds of cool functionality on this that you'll be able to dive into once it's in your hands. Let's move on to funnel. So funnel is a combination of a couple of things. First is you can now track a cohort through the process. So when we think about things, I mentioned a mental model, right? And sort of breaking that down, do I have a sourcing problem, or do I have a hiring process problem? If I've got a hiring process problem, is it with speed, or a candidate's getting lost somewhere in the process? The hiring funnel sort of gives you that. Where is the drop off? And there'll be more coming here as well. Additionally, with this new functionality, some of the functionality of the tool that we put in place is the ability to drill into these metrics. So we can see total hires. Let's go ahead and dive into that. Here, I can now see the 215 people, and I can get more information about them if I'm curious. And this is a common theme throughout the insights that we've brought, is that ability to dig into the data. It's great. I've hired 12 people. Who were they? What locations? What information do I want? And that drill in allows us to do that. Okay. Hiring steps. So I mentioned the funnel sort of shows you how people are progressing through the funnel and if there's a drop off. Hiring steps is meant to allow you to go to that step and see what's happening. Again, I can drill into these figures. We're not going to do that here, but I can see the 212 that are scheduled if I want to, or the no-shows or the canceled. And for all different hiring steps, we've got that kind of data. So you can get to the steps and see what's happening. Let's go to sourcing performance. So sourcing performance is going to show you all your different sources of applicants and hires. Okay, I've got a bunch of applicants, but where are my hires coming from specifically? And if we scroll down just a little bit, and which sources are converting at the highest rate, right? Because an applicant from one source may not be as likely to convert as another. We typically find, with Hireology career sites, we put a lot of effort into making sure those convert at a really great rate. We think of your career site as your local front door, if you will, where you highlight your benefits, what it's like to work at that specific location. And again, it's like your digital front door. People coming in your front door, you pay a little more attention to and typically want to work at your location, which is really important information. We see job roles by source. This is the kind of thing you're just not going to get on another platform. So what we're showing you here is a breakdown by the roles you care about, what the source of that hire is, right? Is in this case, Indeed sponsorship is working out. In other cases, you'll see career sites or others working out, who's converting at those rates for specific roles. It helps inform a lot of things like where should I be spending more? Where should I put more of my effort and time into for this specific role type? It's also just kind of nice to know the breakdown of where you're getting those hires. And then we'll have conversion rates by source and more. Okay, let's go back to hiring velocity. Let's show a little bit of the functionality of the tool. So let's dive in here. What's new in the platform now is you are going to be able to self-set things like alerts. So in this case, if the average time to review is greater than 3 days, I want to send an alert, and I can specify emails. I can do it daily. I can do it weekly. I can send to people who are on the platform, who are not on the platform. It's actually smart enough that if I set a whole bunch of filters at the top first saying, for these 3 roles or these locations or whatever it might be, it will remember that. And so when you set your alerts, they can be filter aware, which is a really nice benefit. We can also, if you go to the top right there, you can also set just scheduled deliveries of dashboards in general, of the information you want to send. So we can do it in different formats. We can send it through different channels. You can send it to people who are on the platform, people who are not on the platform. You can put it in different formats, PDF or whatever it might be that you're looking for. And in the cadence that you want. There's also some advanced options and filters and all kinds of good things. But you now can decide the cadence and what it is you want to see on a regular basis without needing anyone from Hireology to help you put that together. It's all at your fingertips now. Okay. And with that, I will turn it back to, I think it's Adam. And he is going to talk about job configuration, which is some new functionality coming in the tool. Adam.
Great. Yeah. All right. So let's shift gears and talk about job configuration. That is, in our view, a critical foundation for any strategic hiring initiative. So hiring is more than just filling open roles, particularly as your organization scales. It is about aligning your talent strategy with your business goals, which means aligning it with budgets and capacity planning. And so if you do this right, our job configuration tool set will set your team up to hire smarter, faster, and with a lot more intention. So let's talk about what exactly that means. Job configuration is the process of standardizing and managing role details, such as titles, responsibilities, and requirements, as well as seat count. So it ensures your hiring and staffing levels are aligned with your workforce needs and your budget constraints. And within Hireology, this is made actionable through 2 things. Number 1, job requisitions. So job requisitions, I know a concept most of you are familiar with, is defining the specifics of the role, the responsibilities, the level, the requirements, the pay, everything about the requisition itself. I have an open seat or a number of open seats that I may need to get approval for or need to track or ping to my financial system. I need to get that all entered here in one place. And then second would be approval workflows. Approval workflows safeguard your hiring plans and assure every role aligns with available budget and resources. So, we've all had the experience where we've got a manager in a location that just hires somebody and they either did or did not know But what's true is they shouldn't have hired that person because that headcount wasn't allocated to them. Or we're trying to keep headcount, flat or just hire to replacement roles. And so without approvals, it makes it really hard to lock all that down. And so what many of our customers do today is they do approvals through emails or hallway conversations, frankly. I know a number of you probably have some kind of basic job requisition process. But what we're trying to do is to bring this all together inside this platform so you can do it all in one place. So all of these features are designed to create a more structured, a more transparent, and a more scalable hiring process within your Hireology account. So you're eliminating guesswork, fetching information offline. You're improving accountability. Ultimately, alignment and communication improves, which means better operational efficiency, and you spend more time with candidates that you're trying to bring in the door than trying to figure out whether Bob or Jane approved the rec or not, using email or offline conversations. So I'm going to go through 3 different industry use cases here. In automotive, headcount planning helps balance quality, cost, and timing of hires. So roles require specialized skills. You've got technicians, you've got service advisors, you've got parts sales, you've got specific management and selling variable ops roles, and defining those requirements up front ensures you attract the right fit of candidate. Every hire should also align with budget and business goals, and so these approval workflows are going to help control your spend and avoid overhiring. And automotive hiring does need a shift, and it changes over the course of the year. Being staffed for tax refund checks, for example, being staffed in the summer, managing holiday promotions or new model launches. Headcount planning lets you flex your workforce to match demand without wasting time or resources. Now, in senior care, these job configurations are key to ensuring quality care, compliance against staffing mandates, and also cost controls. So roles in this industry often require outright certifications, CNAs, RNs, specialized caregivers, and defining those qualifications in the requisition ensures you're hiring competent and compliant, let's say, talent right from the start. And so we're catching that at the approval level. In senior care, staffing has to meet regulatory requirements and resident care standards, and job configuration within our platform helps you stay compliant and avoid gaps that affect care quality. And the elephant in the room, high turnover, really a challenge. So this kind of planning helps you respond quickly without overspending, and it helps you keep your staffing levels balanced with budget and operational needs. And then finally, let's look at hospitality. In hospitality, staffing impacts everything from guest experience to cost control, and staffing needs similarly shift with guest volume or holiday seasonality. So you think, events, peak travel times or holidays. So, the job configuration tooling ensures the right roles are filled at the right time with the right skills. So over or under hiring can help or hurt service quality and team morale. But smart planning helps keep your staffing in sync with demand, so you're delivering consistently excellent customer and guest experience. And then on the compliance side, it helps you stay in budget and helps you pay attention to the right level of labor compliance in your market, especially with varying shift structures and hourly roles. So it'll ensure smooth operations while reducing compliance risks. John, back to you to show the functionality.
Great. Thanks, Adam. All right, we're going to jump through 3 parts of job configuration. The first is the form builder. So we've built this in a way to make it as easy as possible. We don't want to introduce new steps and make it more difficult to get jobs open and move the process through. But we need to give you the flexibility to add those extra fields that you need and collect extra data that maybe your HR or whoever's approving these jobs might need to see. So what we're going to see first is the building of additional details within step 1 of the job configuration. And if you want to go ahead and kick that off. So we're going to see this new, forms configuration. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, and we're going to add a set of fields that we now want to be part of step 1. So here I've created a new section. I'm typing really fast. I'm going to put a work schedule together. I'm going to add a couple of fields that I want to become a part of the job details. And there'll be more flexibility, more options for you to do this over time. I create them, I can preview them, see them before I ever open the job. And then I'm going to go ahead and this user is going to go ahead and implement this and then open a job. And now when we open a job, we're going to see this extra data as a part of that workflow. Okay. They're just reviewing one more time. They're going to save and publish. Okay. Now they're going to go ahead and create a job. And you're going to see those 2 extra sections at the bottom of the job details section now on step 1. So they're going to scroll down here and we're just going to highlight this new work schedule and human resources information that we added. So really clean, really simple. There'll be all kinds of fields you'll be able to add to this over time. And we'll have the data you need in order to open your jobs are opened with the right information. Okay, let's go to the next. User groups. So we want you to be able to configure things the way that you need to be able to configure them. And what you're going to see in this video is we're going to configure two groups, a finance group and an operations group. The finance group is going to be set and locked down with the parent, and then the operations group is going to be configurable so that the children can change its members. Let's go ahead and kick this off. I'll go on double speed and make sure this thing moves along well. Okay, so here I am, I'm going to configure the group. I'm at the ultimate parent. I come in and I'm going to set up this finance group and I'm going to add the members to this group that I want. Okay, Katie and Kim, and I'm going to say that my children's stores are not enabled to edit those members. I can lock this down as much as I want, or I can open up for them. Here I'm adding an operations group. And this time I want to allow or have the children add the members or update the members of that group. Maybe you have a local GM, maybe you have other roles. And so when I'm configuring my workflows, I need that kind of flexibility. You can actually also turn it off so that children can't create new groups as well. So here I'm in the child, I can view the members of the finance team, but I can't edit them. As for this operations team, I'm in here and I'm adding the members that make sense for my local office because this approval will go through operations first. Okay, so that's user groups. The second key part to job configuration. Let's go to the third. So now we're going to get into approvals. Approvals have all kinds of flexibility and different needs for different companies. And so what you're going to see here is how we configure multi-step approval. The first thing is, what do you want that submitter to submit? Do you want them just to submit the details? Do you want them to submit the details and the job description and the hiring steps, or just the job details? So we'll show some flexibility there. We'll also show you how you can do things in series, meaning I want this person to approve, then this person, this person, or do them in parallel. Let's go ahead and kick this off. Okay, great. So the first thing you're seeing here is I want to flexibly configure how much that submitter is going to submit. I am now configuring my approvals, and I can add groups and or people. So we just show groups and we have people. And so I'm adding different members and I'm adding different steps. If I want one of a group to approve, I can do that in a parallel. And obviously with multiple steps, I can do things in series. So we're adding, removing steps here. Same thing for my publishers. I can use those groups. I can configure this however I want, up to 5 different steps. So a lot of depth in this to configure them to fit the workflows that your company needs specifically. Here you see that they've configured the submitters, they've configured the approvers and the publishers, and they're going to go ahead and make this live and active. And now when jobs are submitted, they're going to review it one more time here. Now when jobs get submitted, there's going to be an approver. And then ultimately there's going to be a publisher that brings it to the customer. So tons of functionality in this, and these 3 pieces coming together for you all to really create a simple user experience for job configuration to meet all the needs that you have. And with that, I think we're at the end. I'll turn it back over to Kristen and we'll do some
Q&A. We are. Thank you so much, John. That's a lot. I appreciate everyone kind of post lunch or during lunch, depending on where you are. I'm going to call out some questions that we've received during the webinar. Adam's been on it responding, so I'm just going to repeat some of the answers just so everyone's in the loop. But thank you, Tim. You asked a question about 875,000 applicants. Are those full or part-time? And the answer is almost completely full, almost entirely full-time, which reflects the makeup of Hireology's customer base. So We are constantly doing our best to make sure retail, automotive, hotel people, facility-based care, and any other business that works with Hireology is getting the highest quality of applicants. And John talked about, hey, giving you the tools to understand that as well. Lexi asked a great question. Is there a way to see new applicants across all jobs in one spot? The answer is yes. If you select the parent location in that location picker, what I think John's team has done incredibly well is make sure that you have the tools at your disposal to change context, to understand at both the corporate location, regional level, what you need to understand there, and really giving you the power at your fingertips. And that applies not only looking at the jobs, but understanding on the back end on insights, action center, et cetera. And then Liz, how does that 2-week hire and being on payroll account for a 2-week notice period? We track time to hire, as Adam said, based on the decision to make a hire versus the start date. So this is offer accepted and you deem them as hired. There may be people who say, hey, I can only start in a month or I can start in 2 weeks, but this is the person that basically you've taken off the job market. They've accepted your position. They're committed to working for you and you have been able to close that role. And then Jessica, you asked a great question. Can you send the time to hire page that I can share with my team? Absolutely. After this webinar, we'll make sure you get the recording as well as a PDF of this deck so you all can have this at your fingertips. I've got a few minutes left, so I'll ask a couple more live questions we've received and I'll tee them up to John and Adam. So John, from a customer, Action Center has been great at letting me have oversight of all my locations. Are there any other use cases you're considering for this feature set to have moving forward? Or are there any options that we've thought about with relative to Action Center?
Yeah, there's going to be more coming in Action Center over time. So we just released low applicant flow, or are releasing soon low applicant flow. We've got stale jobs, so jobs that have just been out there, and you want to keep things clean. Make sure your career site is very slick. Over time, we want to do things where you can go to the Action Center to get more into the candidate stuff. Show me all the candidates at this status or that status, or need this action. There's some functionality rolling out soon that'll be around hires, the ability to search across all jobs for hires, see their status, how are they progressing through onboarding, that kind of thing. So lots more to come in the Action Center.
Awesome. It's so exciting, and I'm really excited about what I've seen from John's team that's to come. Another question back at you, John, because people are excited. Am I able to see how I'm doing versus my competition within the new insights? AKA, if I'm competing against the dealership across the street or the hotel around the corner, can I see how they're doing against myself and benchmark my performance?
Not against the person across the street. So we've been a little bit careful to make sure that we've actually been very careful to make sure that you're not seeing data that you shouldn't see, right? So we don't want that. But we do want you to know versus the industry and perhaps the state, that kind of thing. Like, what is the boundaries by which it's obfuscated enough, but informative enough for you to say, am I doing well? Or am I not doing well? I mean, these are the stores, and in some ways, everybody's in competition with everybody for the same talent. And so we want to give our customers the best insights to know what good looks like. So yes, to a degree, not your neighbors.
Yeah. I think what's really exciting about the way the team has structured the new insights after banging her for a while is you can kind of keep this at your fingertips, and you can drill in and you can figure out, do I want to see how I'm stacking up against the industry as a whole? Do I want to look at my region? Do I just want to look store to store? If I'm a single store as part of a large group, etc. It allows you to set, hey, who do I want to define good for me, and how do I understand what good looks like? And we're going to make sure that that's at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I love that. I mean, a lot of times you want to know how the industry is doing. A lot of times you just want to know, how about my 10 or 15 stores? How do they compare with one another?
Yeah.
And there's a competitive nature to people. So like, they kind of like to see how they compare to the other stores, which is really nice. And sometimes that takes you pretty far in knowing what good looks like.
100%. I got 2 more questions. Will the new job requisition and approval process you just walked through, John, ever pull from my payroll or HRIS system?
That is the plan. So there's a lot of work that we're doing here at Hireology to put some infrastructure in place. So maybe you've got zones or any kind of thing, values that you've got in your HRIS that you'd like to see as a part of that job requisition. And so we've got multiple threads of development going on. So you just saw 3 major threads that are sort of wrapping up. We've got another thread that's working with integration partner to allow us to tap into many HRISs more deeply, as a goal. We're not talking about that too much today, but yes, I guess the quick answer is yes, we are planning on that, and look for more to come on that topic.
Yeah, look for more to come. And if you are a current customer of Hireology's, be sure to ask your CSM, stay in touch with them, ask about our product Backstage Pass, where you'll get information like this. Final question, and then I'll close us out for today. What is the timeline on the launch of these features for current customers? So probably, John, to isolate it to the two ending features. Insights, if you were a customer, I'm just going to say this, you have access, my friend. It's in preview today. Go into your admin panel and you can turn it on for yourself. And we're just a short few weeks away from launching it to the entire market. And so stay tuned for early May for the big market level launch of Insights. Lots of great work coming there. And then job recs and approvals, John, you want to talk a little bit about how people can start to see that, be part of that conversation, and be ready to use it in the future.
Yeah, so with the job rec and approval, we've already got some one-step approvals in place. So we've got some big customers using that today and already making sure that they got some compliance around getting the right eyes on certain job. What you saw today, I think you can think about us entering a beta, let's say in the June timeframe, and then going more GA, probably July-ish. But if you want to be in the beta, you want to get access to that early, reach out to us and we will, see about getting you into that in early.
Awesome.
Kristen, before you wrap up, we have two questions in Q&A that I want to make sure we address. Jessica, you're asking, can there be a notification system implemented on a team member that might be underperforming on time to hire? I know we can run a report, but could we set a notification saying this hiring manager is hiring in 10 days versus 2 days? John, can you take that one?
Sure can. Hey, Jessica. So the answer is yes. So when I showed that alerting, the way it works is it is filter aware. So we've got a user activity tab now. And so you can go to that user activity tab. You can set the filter to whoever this hiring manager might be that you'd like to keep an eye on. And you can set thresholds for whatever it is you'd like to set a threshold on. So you've just got functionality to, keep your eye on those kinds of things now.
And you can also set alerts on, broader time to review. So if, you want all managers to, you want to get dinged every time someone goes above the threshold, not just individual managers, but if you have a problem child, you want to, keep in a penalty box. We help you do that too. And then I think, go ahead, John.
Or stores or certain, maybe you say, you know what, service technician is the most important job, or an RNA is my most important job. You can set thresholds and say, on this type of job, I want to see if we're not reviewing or we're not getting this % review, I want to be alerted. So your ability to drill in on the things that move your business the most and alert on them is now there.
Great. And Adam, I see this last question, so I'll tee you up because it's not a Top Chef jacket, John, from Lightcast. So I'll let Adam describe what our lab coats mean at Hireology, because this is his creation.
Yeah. So what you're looking at is my first lab coat here at Hireology is something we've done from day one. Once you worked here for 6 months, you earn your lab coat, and so we have a semi-culty ceremony, and we coat people. They take a Hireology oath. It's a fun thing we do that's part of our culture, and so that is the lab coat. That Kristen, I think you actually had this framed for my 10-year anniversary here, which was 5 years ago. And, January 2020, little did we know what was about to happen to the world then, but that is my lab coat. And so here's a plug for our loyalty program. I want everybody to know as a customer today, we have launched, if you've not heard from your CSM, we have launched a loyalty program here at Hireology. If you like what you get from us and you're confident that you're going to stay with us, we are providing some pretty exciting incentives for people to extend their term with us. And so that may include credits for locations you may be expanding to. It may be deals on, bringing background check business over. It may be, things like a price lock and other sorts of things that may be of real interest to you, particularly in this environment. And if you sign an extended term, you have the opportunity to get your very own lab coat with Hireology. White lab coats we give at Hireology for everyone who've been here from 1 year to 5 years, and that counts for customers too. But when you hold on,
Jonathan, little did you know what you were opening up here, my friend. But
when you make 5 years, you get your black lab coat. And this is what we all aspire to. So if you've been a customer for 5 years or longer, you need to talk to your CSM because you may have earned a black lab coat. And if you happen to work here for 5 years or more, that's how you know who has tenure here. If you see us at a show and someone's in a black lab coat, you know they've got 5 years or more here at Hireology. So there's your long answer. And I think we're right on time. And I'll zip it, Kristen. Back to you.
We're great. Well, great question. And again, reach out to your CSM, or you can reach out to any of us as well. On email, LinkedIn, etc. But I do want to call out, there's 2 QR codes here. If you are a customer and you want to give us feedback, positive or opportunistic or constructive, we love it. We look at this. My team spends all day in G2. So here is your QR code to scan today to do that. And then if you have not had the opportunity to work with us and you want to know a little bit more about how you can get access to insights, be part of Action Center, or even be part of our early beta for job recs and approvals, scan this QR code and schedule a demo. And with that, I'll say thank you to all of you spending your lunchtime in a very busy end of April. And we look forward to catching up with you next quarter when we have that much more to talk about. Thanks, everybody.